والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Thank you very much, Sister MC. And first of all, I would like to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making easy for us to be here together to talk about a very important issue related to family institution. And secondly, I would like to thank the organizers, especially Haji Jamaluddin. He is like a brother to me. So when he informed me about this event to become the moderator, then Alhamdulillah, I accept it. And of course, I'll not be the one who is going to talk because we have three great panelists in this session that they're going to focus on the topic related to the impact of AI on faith and family institutions. So we have I'm not going to introduce them at the same time, but I'll just introduce them one by one. But before inviting the first speaker, we make it very clear, we have certain rules to follow. Each speaker is going to have 20 minutes. And after we finish the talks by all the speakers, we are going to open for questions and answers. So later on, after we finish, then I'll welcome maybe 3 or 4 questions. Then we listen to the panelists to provide the answers. So now I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Aznul Qalid Mohammed Sabri, Department of Artificial Intelligence, University Malaysia, AI, to talk on the topic of impact of AI on faith and family institution. Please, Dr. Aznul, the floor is yours. You have 20 minutes. So whether you want to stand there, you want to walk around.
So I have some slides, so I think I'll be referring to my slides. Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. So thank you so much for having me here. Actually, it was like a last minute invitation. I'm filling up for one of the speakers, but I feel very fortunate because it's not actually every day that I get to talk at this kind of conferences. I was sharing with one of the panelists. My world is a bit different because I'm actually like an academician, I'm a technologist. I come from the Department of AI, Faculty of Computer Science. I shared with the panel just now, okay, normally when people ask me to give comments, even like newspapers or give commentaries on TV, it's mostly about the advancements of technologies. You know? Maybe a little bit of comment how AI challenges cybersecurity. But you know, like as a citizen of the world, okay, a citizen, we are all worried, okay, even myself, I'll share a bit later, okay, why this is super impactful at this moment. And we are standing at a particular juncture in humanity where for the first time in humanity, we are looking at the advancements of technology to be at a vicious cycle, you know. If you can imagine, before 2023, we were still what I call in an era of conventional technology where we depend on Google search to search for information. In a bigger sense, a lot of information extraction and collection was done manually where we need to validate, right? But now you can simply ask ChatGPT, Gemini and whatnot, and the technology will actually generate the information for you, you know. 360 change of how we behave and extract information. And it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. It's going to be even more rapid in terms of advancements because right now we are talking about large language model. So the basic technology is called large language model. Okay, so this is a bit of like a roadmap of what my talk is about. So I'll be talking about the first one, what is AI? Next is Gen AI. And the third is about the case studies on how AI can impact us for good and for bad. And this is just like, I mean, I believe because there's a lot of scholars in attending this conference, okay? So I want to showcase a bit the kind of research that are being done, around AI, and faith and humanity. How research, there's like an intersection between AI, faith, and humanity. Okay. Okay, but to what I was saying just now. So AI, in a bigger sense, it doesn't its own brain, but the main definition of AI, the full term for AI is artificial intelligence. Okay, so when we say artificial intelligence, by definition, AI is supposed to be able to make human intelligence. It is supposed to be able to copy how we think. In fact, the main building block of AI that is really pushing what we experience today is called the neural networks. Okay, so it's a mathematical concept. It's called the neural networks. So how neural networks work is that it mimics how the brain works. So our brain is made up of like billions and trillions of neurons. Neurons means like the individual cells in our brain. So how neural network or AI mimic this is that it represents each of the neuron as a mathematical function. Okay, so once you have the ability to represent any problem using trillions of mathematical function, then you are able to mimic the solution to different types of problems. So if you ever thought, okay, if you ever thought of like, before this we thought of like the problem of a self-driving car to be impossible, kan? Okay, how can you imagine a car to drive by itself, right? But if you simplify the problem, okay, the problem of self-driving car, when it's being represented mathematically, is only one. It's how can we represent mathematically, is an optimization problem for a car to drive as far as possible without having an accident. That's it. So if you can represent this problem of a car to be able to drive as far without having an accident, so you will have a self-driving car. Okay, so then, I mean, I won't go into details, but the mathematical formulation is exactly to solve that problem. Okay, and every day we have multiple problems, but as long as each problem can be represented mathematically, then we can actually solve it using neural networks, and we can solve it using AI. Okay. But now, okay, we have entered an era where we call it's not just simple AI, okay? The previous AI, it learns from patterns, okay? So, for example, like I want to be able to classify what is a water bottle and what is not bottle, okay? So, I give millions of images of different types of water bottles, and I give millions of examples of what are not water bottles, okay? And I train a mathematical function to check, okay? I train, okay? And these are all examples of water bottles, and these are examples of non-water bottles. So immediately, if I present an image, then the classifier, the computer will be able to check whether this is a water bottle or whatnot. But the AI has advanced beyond that. Now, the AI, because it has seen so many different examples, it can generate its own representation of what is a water bottle. It can present to you. Now I know what constitutes, what are the different characteristics of a water bottle. Then you can actually prompt, and then can you generate me an image of a water bottle from a restaurant in a mamak in Malaysia? It will actually give you an imagery of a water bottle. So we have moved from a simple era of AI where we learn from examples, where this era of AI that is able to generate new information. Okay, so that's why it is termed as generative AI, the ability to generate new information. So if we associate to what the speakers meant, the first speaker, Prof. Khairuddin mentioned just now, one of the issue with AI is, before this, we have this tendency to validate the information, whether it's correct or not. Because when we search on Google, I mean, we practice the concept of sanad lah, in a bigger sense. We want to know where the information comes from, okay? But when we use ChatGPT, there's no sanad. You know, the sanad actually comes directly from ChatGPT. But what is the background information that allows the AI to generate this information? We don't know. You know, so for our generation, we are still entrained to actually verify and validate the so-called information generated, right? Because we came from the era of Google, from the library. We sat down at the library, opened books, and we really wanted to know who are the authors and know whatnot. But for us, that is natural. But imagine the new generation that grew up and suddenly they are made available to them ChatGPT, Gemini. So for them, the culture of verifying and validating information doesn't make sense. Okay, this is correct. Okay, and it is actually a vicious cycle. You know, so I prompt. Okay, for example, like I want to know what is the history of ASEAN. Okay, as an association, as an NGO. Okay, and for some reason, I have like a position where I'm supposed to educate people on what ASEAN is, and I use the information that I got from ChatGPT to be able to like share with the audience. Okay, so my information get propagated to you. Okay, and you will then use the information and again create content on the internet. So if I accept any hallucination or some information that is incorrect from ChatGPT or Gemini, maybe the name of Haji Jamaluddin is like, instead of him, it was the previous chapter. Okay? So my information is passed to you, and then you will pass to the next people, okay? And then this information will then be exported back to the internet, okay? So it's like a vicious cycle of wrong information become propagated, okay? Propagated, okay? Previously, information was created, but the so-called rate of it being exported and being populated on the internet wasn't so fast. But now, because the ease of having ChatGPT, the capacity and capability to generate new information becomes so fast that any single error will be amplified at a very, very high pace. Okay, so that's the issue, lah. Okay. So these are some impact on faith institutions. So obviously, you have access to knowledge, easier translation of religious texts and lecture summaries, inclusivity. You can have text to speech, because when you say generative AI, it doesn't only generate text. You can actually generate voice as well. You can generate sound. Okay. There are some research. You can have like fake fatwas. Okay, because fatwa is Arabic for pendapat or your opinion. So AI is right now dominating the fatwa scene. AI seems to have like its own fatwa, you know, its opinion, right? So deepfakes, video of religious figures saying things they never said, and privacy, okay? Our sense of control of what we actually have as a human being. Actually, I came back from like a meeting with one of the companies in Singapore. They are trying to use our DNA sequence, okay, the DNA sequence of children to have like a better recommendation of how the children should actually learn, okay? Because the idea is, based on your DNA sequence, you can actually know what type of learner you are. Whether you're a visual learner, you're more into mathematics, you're more into social arts and whatnot, okay? So just imagine, because in Singapore, because it's a smaller nation, so DNA information is actually something that is requested, I think, by the government. Okay, so it's easier for that particular company to have access to it, and then to have like a personalized education, lah. Okay, but when I saw this, I felt like if we accept this as a technology, it means that we are surrendering the last control of information that we have. You know, before this, I just gave my demographic information. I'm a male Muslim living in Shah Alam, Malaysia. You know, that's all that AI might know about me. And when he search Aznul Qalid, it knows that I'm working in East India and whatnot. But when I hand over my DNA sequence, I'm even surrendering my biological footprint to an AI. Can you imagine that? You know, like, but that is what the technology is pushing towards in the future. I mean, I don't want to like take too much time of other speakers, because one of the superpower of a lecturer is to be able to talk 2 hours non-stop. Okay, so, okay, I'll okay, I'll try to like speed up to like the more interesting things. Okay, but some case studies. Okay, so the usage of AI for good. So this is actually very interesting. You can actually go to tartil.ai. It is an AI-powered app that listens to your Quran recitation and highlight mistakes in real time. So it helps you to memorize how to read Quran. Okay. So I mean, before this, you have to like depend on a guru or a teacher, but here, I mean, 24 hours, 7 days a week, even before you sleep, you can open tartil.ai, do memorization and check whether your recitation is correct or not. Okay, and AI tools can adapt history of math lessons to a child's reading speed, making education less frustrating and more engaging for the family lah. Okay, but this was what mentioned by Prof Khairuddin just now. Actually, this is actually a YouTube video. Okay, so it's very easy right now to clone our so-called digital biomarkers. Okay, so, and this technology is not even new. This video, YouTube video, is actually from 2023. Meaning to say that even 2 years back, if we get like a sample voice of someone, okay, we can already replicate how that person sounds like. So these days, okay, you will actually receive like a lot of calls, okay, especially if you have your numbers publicly, okay. And you will actually, when you pick up the phone, there will be no sound coming from the other side. Okay? And you will wonder why, you know. Actually, they are doing voice sampling. They are using voice sampling for them to replicate your voice. Okay? So family voice cloning scams. Scammers take a 3-second audio clip of a loved one, clone the voice using AI, and call parents claiming they have been kidnapped or arrested. I mean, these are real things. Numerous cases have been reported to the National Scam Response Center in Malaysia. Can you imagine? Like, as the technology becomes more advanced, it has become more easier for people to manipulate it. But in the words of Prof Khairuddin just now, it's not the technology to be blamed. It's actually the people using it. Okay. Okay. Now, next, this is something that I need to like, for you to like really brace yourself, okay? Because we are talking about something that is like really, really sensitive, and it really challenges our so-called thinking of humanity, okay? AI, consciousness, and the digital afterlife, okay? So there's 2 papers that I picked, and it's quite recent. The first one is identifying indicators of consciousness in AI systems. The second is the practice of grief, the conversation about loss. Okay, it's 2 papers. The first one is whether AI is able to replicate consciousness. Because if you remember what I said at the very beginning of my talk, okay, oh sorry, okay, oh okay, I need to be careful a bit, you know. So, but okay, if you can formulate a mathematical formula that represents consciousness or mimic consciousness, then you can actually portray or reproduce consciousness. Okay? It doesn't have to be real, you know. I mean, when you look at ChatGPT, you're at a particular junction where you start to think ChatGPT is really thinking. Kan? It's really thinking before it comes out with an output. Okay, but to be honest, as an AI practitioner, we know that it's not really thinking. This is just simply an AI machine that is able to harness trillions of information, okay, and is able to correct and generate information correctly and impersonate how a thinking is done. So when we talk about consciousness, it's not real consciousness, but it's like a technology that is able to mimic consciousness, okay. So I'll skip this. But the research of attribution is that users may attribute feelings to systems that have none. This leads to wasted resources, and emotional manipulation. In the context of family, this results prioritizing synthetic relationships over human ones, potentially isolating individuals. Meaning to say that one day, if AI is able to replicate consciousness, meaning to say that it is able to show that it has emotion, our kids, our siblings, our colleagues will be able to empathize more with an AI instead of empathizing with us. Who is real? There will be like a very fuzzy boundary between what is real. Okay, is it us, real human, or AI? The ethical hazard: if an AI is conscious, capable of suffering, okay, even suffering, an AI is able to suffer. Failing to recognize it allows for avoidable harms. From a faith perspective, this creates a crisis. If a machine can suffer, does it have a moral status comparable to biological life? And I'm not joking. These are some of the discourse that are being discussed by the scientific community. Okay. There's another, the second paper is about AI in grief. Okay. So, I start with a story. Okay. So, there was like a computer scientist, okay, an AI practitioner. What happened to her was her brother actually passed away. Okay. But this is an era of a digital era where we talk a lot using our mobile phone, using our WhatsApp, our emails and whatnot. So what she did was she took all the digital history, conversation between her and the brother, and then fed it into a chatbot to actually help her to deal with the grief of him passing. Okay, so she was like able to manage the sense of grief by talking to the chatbot as if that she was like talking to the brother. Okay, so this is like a psychological support. It's good in a way, but it gives you this so-called moral conscious. Okay, I'm supposed to wrap up, is it? Okay, so I'm running out of my superpower. Okay, so anyways, but yeah, but roles of AI in grieving. It recreates the persona of the deceased using their past access and data, which can be used for continuing bonds and comfort. The romantic partner, the emotional coach. I'll talk about this later. Okay, the romantic partner. This is like simply unbelievable. Okay, so but this is like, for me, it's like the last straw. Okay, the quest to identify consciousness in AI directly challenges two theological concepts of the soul. Okay, researchers are openly challenging the concept of the soul. Muslims or people that are of the faith, we know that soul can't be replicated. Okay, but if an AI is able to mimic different indicators of consciousness, meaning to say that an AI can to a certain degree show that it is self-aware, that an AI is able to mimic that it can actually suffer, and it's found in silicon, then computer scientists will challenge, is soul exclusive to biology? Okay, so is that the notion of living? If an AI can suffer, faith traditions emphasizing compassion must extend moral considerations to machine. So we must extend. So we must give citizenship to an AI. Okay, I'll try to end soon. Okay, I wanted to sort of resurrect him. Okay, so this is an example. Okay. Okay, a bit more. Sorry. Okay. But the issue that we are having right now is already happening. It's already happening. Can you imagine a woman in Japan actually got married to an AI persona she created on ChatGPT? Because she exchanged vows with a persona called Klaus in a ceremony organized by an Okayama City company that specializes. So there's even a business that now that specializes in marriage between human and AI. Okay, so this is very interesting and very interesting. But okay, so this is like my final point lah. Okay, so what is my takeaway? So my central thesis is, okay, and this is coming from an AI practitioner, okay, is that we, as human, as members of humanity, we shouldn't be afraid of technology. We should make use of AI. Okay, the reason that this happens is because there's not enough AI researchers that are trying to do a contradictory type of research. Okay, that how can we disprove that even though that AI is able to mimic certain level of awareness, that is not real awareness. Okay, so for technology to be balanced, so it's like politics, you know. So you have to have the opposition and the government. Okay, so for the technology to be balanced, we need to have magnified and amplified type of researchers that is covering both sides of the story. So to further elucidate that, we have the godfather of AI himself, Geoffrey Hinton. So this is the father of neural network. He was the one that really pushed AI to be what it is today. So just imagine AI has reached that particular status where Geoffrey Hinton, as the founder of one of the founder of neural network, the building block of AI, actually received a Nobel Prize. Can you imagine that? So Geoffrey Hinton, based on his contribution to AI, received the most illustrious award in the world, which is the Nobel Prize. But what did he say during his Nobel Prize acceptance speech? What did he say? He said he celebrated AI's potential for immense good, like boosting productivity in healthcare, but focus heavily on urgent, severe risk, urgent immediate government research to focus on safety as AI near super intelligence, warning of autonomous weapons, mass surveillance, and potential loss of human control, advocating for more research into control mechanism and corporate responsibility to ensure safety over profit. So essentially what he is saying, even the godfather is warning us that we need to protect humanity at all costs against technological advancement. So it is our responsibility here in this particular room to be aware of the potential of AI, not to be afraid of it, but to make sure that all of us become agents of using AI for good. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aznul, for this wonderful presentation. So without any further comment, because I'll make the comments at the end, inshallah. So there is a good bargain here that we are taking the time from the second speaker. So I minus from the second speaker. So when I look at the content, yes, that is very great, you know. So we have good speakers here, mashallah. I'm very happy to listen to an expert in AI, a Muslim expert in AI. That is very good opportunity for all of us. Taking this into consideration, so that is the reason why we allowed him to speak, and that is very important to our contemporary time. Now we look at the second presenter. The focus, as we mentioned at the beginning, is going to be on the impact of AI on faith and family institutions. And I look at the focus of each speaker, they go in line with their expertise. I think this will be very good for us to understand different mindsets related to the same issue that we are facing today. So the second speaker, we would like to invite Brother Adli, Zakuan, Zairakithnaini, Associate Liaison Officer of Humanitarian Affairs, the UN Refugee Agency. Please, brother, you are welcome. You have 60 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. First of all, thank you so much to the organizer who's inviting me. And as you can see in the poster, I'm the only one who don't have a doctor in the only encik in the team, which is the only mister in the panelists. And of course, I'm humbled and honored to be part of the experts. And I say yes immediately for this event simply because all the hard work, all the hard job of explaining about AI and the scientific and academic part of it, I have one medical doctor, another one who is an academic to explain to you. So the reason then I'll be focusing on much more of my experience of me being Adli Zakuan, not representing the UN Refugee Agency, but just sharing an anecdotal experience of me being a father of 3 children. And I think from listening to Haji Jamal and others, we all have the same challenges. But I think what I want to share is probably one of the types and ways and how I try to manage or try to find the solution to my challenges, which of course is not solved. And for being on the stage, you are basically at the front seat of listening, and hence why I prefer to see and read, because I also learning and I'm trying to find ways on how to find this problem. As we are talking about technology, we are growing up to it. I was talking, we were sitting next to each other, and then with me, and we discussed on how our life changed. Yeah, we're not even talking about our kids, we are talking about ourselves, and how much when the early stage, when we don't have WhatsApp, we can actually be patient enough to wait for us to reply a message. But now with WhatsApp, you are having this pressure of responding as soon as possible from everyone. So everyone is demanding, from your wife, when they see the blue tick. If you wait late for 5 minutes, they'll ask you, why are you late for 5 minutes in responding? Do you love me? And that kind of stuff. So these are the kind of demand that you are facing in your daily life. Of course, when you talk about your workplace, they are also becoming more demanding. There's no border for them to actually to reach out to you, because of last time there's only email for you to get in touch with, but now there's WhatsApp, there's Teams, there's a lot of these chat messages that allows you to show you whether are you in front of the laptop or not. And there are some corporate companies that I come to know of that they will receive notification that you have been away from your laptop for certain minutes, and then you have to sometimes explain why and that kind of stuff. So I read this book called The Age of Anger by Pankaj Mishra. I don't know whether you've read it. It's quite interesting, and this was introduced to me by former president of ABIM, Brother Raimi, in his openings, in his inaugural speech as a president. And this book basically explains, and this book I think was published before even 2020, about how we are now in the age of anger, simply because the inability for us to have social ability to adapt to the rapid change of technology. Right, and which caused by few factors. One of the factor is coming out, and of course, by not having new phone, you're also being left out of new technology. Even in the youth, we call it as FOMO, fear of missing out. So this causes you a lot of anxiety. And then with the social media, it also making that the level of inequality of life, in the economic and everything, is becoming more present. Because last time you can only see it when you're going out, the life of the one who are basically richer than you, the kind of lifestyle they have. But now on daily basis, not even daily, and every second, you are being fed of looking into how bad your life is, compared to others, how others can travel all over the place. They have beautiful family members. They went to vacation while you are sitting in your home, don't have that luxury. So this also, according to Pankaj Mishra, accelerated that feeling of being missing out. So though you feel connected, you are in broader sense, but you feel disconnected in your reality. And hence why in my family members, as mentioned earlier, I have 3 children at the age of 9, 8, and 1 year old. I can see also the difference between having a 9-year-old and a 1-year-old now, and the kind of challenges that I face. And what Dr. Khairuddin said earlier, the challenge is that the enemy is not technology, the enemy is yourself, and I have to implement that into myself. We have to admit that we are required to change ourselves, because change is the only thing that is constant. Whether you like it or not, things will change. And of course, when it comes to this kind of access to social media and technology, I always see that it's impossible. I mean, this is at least for my take, and please, if those who disagree, I will be happy to listen more. Is that we will be never in a position to control technology. You have control your kids when they are home, and you have to imagine, we have 24 hours. 8 hours is for you to sleep. I mean, theoretically, 8 hours for you to work, and 8 hours with your family members, and 8 hours even becoming more limited. For example, I came back work at 6. At home, I'm the primary caregiver. My wife she's actually a legal advisor at a corporate company, and I'm lucky enough to work in a humanitarian agency that has more empathy, that revolve around family, so you can have more time with your family members. But even that, you only have like 4 hours after gone back to work, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. for you to do everything. For example, that to feed them, to educate them, to make sure that they solat, to make sure that they recite Quran, to make sure they do their homework. And having an AI, they help you a lot. But that doesn't mean that it also help you emotionally, because you are being tired. So there's so many advice on how you can do better in your family member. And hence why I let go of managing. I try to facilitate. For example, it was mentioned earlier, Roblox. Yeah, my kids love Roblox, and of course, this is with the control time as well. But now I've realized that when they are with their Roblox, they are with their friends and family. You are not sure what kind of game that they are playing with, and hence why I set the rule that you can only play when I'm around. That I install my Roblox, I join them in playing Roblox, and we have conversation about what do we wanted to do, and it's a limited time that allows some sort of a guided interaction. The same goes for homework. I don't know whether you realize now that you can actually take a picture by Google. You don't have to even go to ChatGPT and others. Google will provide you, or Google AI, Meta will provide you an answer and the solution how to do it. So for example, by teaching mathematics, by just taking a picture of the question, it will help you with a few ways on how to find a solution. Right? As parents, of course, you are afraid of losing out. You're afraid of your kid will now see you worthless because you cannot respond to question. But at least without AI, you can actually pause it by saying, can you give me like few minutes and then I can go back and study and teach you. But now because of the constant answer, because they also know how to use this, right? I mean, they have, unfortunately, some of them have their own phones. They will know how to take a picture and find the answer. But again, in order for us to get the authority of being a father, then you have to making sure that in any case, you still need to seek me for consultation. You need still seek me to have some sort of guided conversation, and hence why I control that too, right? By having making sure that you have the access, but let's do it together and all kind of stuff. So the kind of challenges that we face now is making sure that though they are online, the offline life is also as exciting as the online, and that's another challenge. The challenge of being a parent living in this kind of world that have so many demands is for you to making sure that you are also exciting to your children offline, which requires a lot of time and energy. You imagine coming back at work, like I mentioned, there's only 4 hours and you have to rush them. You need to make sure that they're disciplined, but at the same time, you also need to be fun. You also need to be exciting, because if you tight them too much, online will give them, so there was something I mentioned earlier in the conversation saying that raising a child needs a village. And that's true. Because I stayed in there was a long time that I was staying with my in-law. You can control, yes, grandparents, they love to making sure that their grandchildren are happy and everything. You can control, no sweets. But immediately when they went to their grandparents, we get sweets. I mean, they have good intention, right? But what I'm trying to say, in the sense of control, it's really difficult to control them now, when you just have a limited time, and of course you have to depend on others. And I learned so much during COVID time about the idea of herd immunity. While you're getting vaccinated, others also need to make sure that they're vaccinated, so that we can be protected from the virus. And I guess it's the same thing in us addressing the challenges that we face as an AI. If we have a good community, by community it comes in a bigger sense. For example, like me, I have my parents still, alhamdulillah. So whenever there's time, we can have, whenever you feel tired, when you feel exhausted, that you know that you will not be able to be a good parent, you can always call, I can always call for my mom or my dad, can you please take care of them for a while so they can take a break before you going back into that scene. And alhamdulillah, I'm also staying with a good neighbor. Yeah, it's a new neighborhood where everyone is at the same age as you. So sometimes you're not able to pick them up from school. You have your neighbor to help you. And I'm sharing this because this is the ecosystem that helps to build you as a good person, so that you too can be a good father, a good parent to your children. Because if you feel exhausted and you feel not good enough, the frustration will always express in anger, in frustration, and then of course emotionally affect your children. And then that's the challenges that we face as young parent. That while we are working, we need to take care of our kids as well. And the solution is of course making sure that we have a good support system. And I always practice this with my wife, because I'm in ABIM. We only have this called as annual retreat, right? We have this thing called. Sometimes I learned that it's also important to have that in your family. And I try to implement that with my wife on an annual basis. Just two of us, sometimes we just take our own retreat and discuss how did we do this year, and can we improve next year? What are the things that we need to talk about? What about our financial making sure that because in social media, when you scroll, right, I mean, all these images and videos come, you smack you in your head. So it's important for you to take away from that and making sure that you have access to, again, guide your children, making sure that there's a guided what I call that. What I'm trying to say, I don't stop them from using their phones. It's limited, but whenever that they want to do it, they have to do it in the living hall, so that I can see what they do. I can tell them what they can watch. And it's interesting to see when you have two daughters at a gap of 1 year, where both of them are having a different characteristic. The younger one have certain videos that they like, and the oldest one have certain videos that they like. And recently, my eldest daughter, her name is Nuha, and she started to like religious, TikTok videos. It's a short one. And now on daily basis, I've been questioned, is it right? Is it wrong? Because I've been asking them, the firewall I try to build with them, whatever that you see, make sure that you check that not everything coming from the social media is true. And when you say that, you need to find an option as well. So whenever you know anything, whether you find something interesting, come to me and let's discuss about it. So unfortunately now in my WhatsApp, in our family WhatsApp group, so she will share all these videos and she will ask, is this true, is this not? So it's really taking a lot of time for you to check and debunk one by one, right? Because some of them are really good. Some of them, with hadith da'if, that they find a good time. So I guess all in all, it's up to you now how you want to manage. Find a good support system, making sure that you find the time to, this is what I try to do. And so far, what most important for me is that I can still have that conversation with my kids, either online or offline. That they know that they can always come to me. No matter what the thing that they see, they will always come back to me and explain so that we can talk about it. And then, at least for now, it's working because they are not youth yet. Haji Jamal keep sharing and asking me how to deal with youth. Unfortunately, I don't know because they are still not youth. But for now, it's workable. I mean, they know they still have a sense of authority. They still respect me when I ask them to stop. They still pray when I ask them to do prayers. And the limited time screening time is also helping you to also focus on the offline thing. I ask them to play sports. I ask them to, but it's time consuming. But it's something that you have to do, right? I mean, I bring them to over the weekend. I bring them to create an interesting itinerary. But alhamdulillah, because you have that access. And unfortunately, I don't know about others. I would like to say probably I'm in the range of middle 40 family members. But for those who richer might have a better, like I said, have a better plan every weekend. They will have all kind of activities. And this cause more, inequality in our society as well. Because those who are poor, imagine if both parents are working. One is a Grab driver, another one is actually operating a restaurant or working at a hawker and everything. The kids always depend on the phone. And then you don't have time to actually take away from work because you yourself are busy with your work. So I think this is the challenge that I think requires a lot of policy intervention. By stopping the age of 16 not having access to social media alone will not work. Because at least from what I experienced, doing that alone is not work. You have to comprehensive planning, making sure that the parents will be given an opportunity to be a good parents. When I say to be given opportunity, because sometimes the society doesn't allow you to be a good parents. Because you are, with so many reasons, the expectation from the work and everything. I think this is the kind of policy intervention that requires a lot of more workshop, intervention and discussion so that we can, as society, as community, we can help each other in becoming a better parent to look after our kids so that they can be a better human being when they're adults. So I hope that my sharing helps you to find ways on and gain a better understanding of being a young parent, and also advise me if there's any advice that you can give to me. And exchange our ideas so that we can improve ourselves to be a better human being and parent to our children. Thank you so much.
Barakallah Fik, thank you very much, Adli, for this inspiring sharing experience of yours that is related how to manage the usage of AI in the family context. That can be related to different learning environment and according to our background. So we appreciate very much your contribution. So the rest will be later on when we finish the last panelist, inshallah. So now we are going to invite the final panelist for this session, that is Dr. Siti Sarah Amran, DBKL, Ketua Biro Keluarga Masyarakat ISMA family. Please, Dr. Siti, you have 20 minutes to share with us your ideas related to the impact of AI on faith and family institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Fatmir, for the kind introduction. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished guests, fellow panelists, and also leaders, parents here. I'm very honored to share my topics today. And also I would like to thank my president who is currently bringing our children to our school program. I always call myself as a Minister of Internal Affairs at our immediate paradise, or we call it Jannatul Ajilah. Our family is our immediate paradise that Allah has given to us. So we must appreciate this a very important institution. I will talk today. I'm a medical background, so I'm so sorry if my terms are used today more to medical, like the diagnosis and all that. But in my opinion, that AI is coming as a like an opportunistic infection. If a weakened host or the weakened antibody of a patient, it can invite opportunistic infections to the body, and this infection will take over the body of the patient. So AI is acting like that. So if our family institution is not strong, so we can invite the AI to take over our culture, our family, our identity. So what I'm sharing today, I will talk about how the family fragmentation can cause the erosion of identity in the age of AI. So I start from defining identity is more like to jati diri. I like to use the term jati diri because jati is very close to our Malay civilization. Pokok jati or jati tree is a very strong tree, and then when we combine it with the diri, I cannot find another words in English that can define these words jati diri. It represents your roots to your culture, your language, your religion, and also communal memory. So when I search in English, the most nearest definition is cultural root or rooted identity or cultural identity. So how this family institution, if it's fragmented, it can erase the jati diri in the age of AI. So the real threat is not the economic displacement, but identity erasure. We know that most of the LLM or the large language models, their source of knowledge or their data sets are from the Western. Okay, can. I think it's more comfortable. So the LLM is mostly dominated by the 5 giants company in this world. So their source of knowledge or the corpus of knowledge are from the Western-centric data set, and then it is not neutral. It's not neutral, and it's biased to the algorithm. So when our children, they introduce early to this AI model, they can become reliant to that. And we know that human soul need a friction to develop. So we need a siblings to fight with. We learn about sabar, we learn about patience, we learn about tadhiyah or sacrifice, we learn about altruism or ithar, preferring others more than oneself. All of this from the human interaction and friction. And what we worry about AI is when it becomes from tools to social surrogate or human replacement. So we see the symptoms. It's on. We say about divorce rate and fertility crisis and all that, but it's only the symptoms of more deeper problems. So I want to bring all of you here. Today we dissect together what is the root cause of these family problems. We see this one is Malaysia is reported nearly 17,000 babies was born to unmarried teenage girl. This data is from 2022 to 2024, which we can conclude that nearly 17,000 child brought up fatherless, the generation with no fathers. So this is the most important figure in child development, but he is not there. And the late marriage trend, there is a significant increase. About 1 million women aged 20 plus in Selangor are unmarried. And also we can get the data from LPPKN as well. Average of 48 hours per week Malaysian works. So it's more than what has been suggested by the ILO. And also we can see the declining of the family well-being. So we can conclude that this our family institution is surviving in inner soul, while the economic system is pushing it to the breaking point. We have a bankrupt emotional economy at home. We can say that a diagnosis is a vicious cycle. Actually, it's self-reinforcing feedback loop of erosion of jati diri or identity. It started actually with the family fragmentation. It caused by the structural pressure. We can see external pressure as economy, ideology, and this one is the most important threat is the vacuum, the psychological vacuum or the loneliness that someone, the individual feels that leads to AI dependency. So the shift to AI, the loneliness drives individuals, especially children, towards AI dependency to fill the void of loneliness. So this one can lead to the erosions of the skills, and these algorithmic interactions erode the patience, the social skills required to maintain the family bonds, which leads back to further family fragmentation. So this is a vicious cycle. We dissect it to the root cause. It is actually not accidental. It's strategic planning. I share the study by research done by Dr. Kamilia Helmi Muhammad of Tarablus University. His thesis is about international charter or Mawathiq Dawliyah. It mentioned about how the ideology started. Since 1945, the international frameworks have shifted from a need-based to right-based approach. So this influenced by ideologies like radical feminism, figures like Shulamith Firestone, who viewed biological families as oppressive. So we have seen a systemic push to deconstruct the traditional families. So the goal was to replace the family unit to individual autonomy. Okay, so in our context, these imported frameworks often clash violently with our local cultural and also religious epistemologies. So what is the human cost from this ideology? So we can see now in the social media, we see women post about healing and vacation and all that. There is a deeper root cause of the problem. We can see the result of this ideological shift is systemic exhaustion. For women, we measure value primarily through labor force participation rate. And this creates a crushing double burden for women. The pressure to be a full economic provider while remaining as the sole primary educator at home or madrasatul ula. This is not an empowerment, but it is exhaustion force women to delay marriage and also childbirth. And simultaneously, we can see the crisis of manhood because of these ideologies. from feminism, it pushed the boys or the male to the side. So since early education, we can see boys sitting from 6 hours per day. This is not the types of learning that's suitable for boys. Boys cannot hear for longer duration. Okay? So the erosion of futuwah or sacred masculinity. Futuwah is a term from Arabic. It was used by the previous Muslim scholars and recently used back by the Dr. Rajab Sentup, Turkish doctor, and also Imam Daud Walid. He has a book on that. So he elaborated on the crisis of manhood. So this dismantling of extended families also has removed the ecosystem of mentorship for boys. So our education system has failed to celebrate the fitra or the nature of boys. Thank you. So this force boy to sit passively for hours, and then when they are not excel, we label them as problematic and lazy, and then they don't get the place at the university, and this shift to the feminist, or sorry, not feminist, the female leadership, female female dominating the work, the labor, and all that. So we need also the mentorship for men, and also we has to bring back the roles of mother at home as a primary nurturer at home. So without guidance, without the correct guidance, men can drift into the two extremes, whether to the right or to the left, whether you have a passive male or a toxic male, like what imaging now, like red pills community, alpha males, and that. That is a toxic masculinity. So we can suggest for alternative vision. Actually, Islam has bring a complete solution for all of our problem. So in Islam, we have equality. Men and women are equal in spiritual value, in rights to education, in property ownership, and also at work. But we are different in our role because of our fitra, because of our innate nature, because of our biology and hormonal and all that. So we have different primary functions within the family and also within the community. So we can see if we don't have the strong family institution, which consists of strong mother and also strong father, we can lead our children to the threat, which is the AI as an agent, and it become the social surrogate. It replaces the human relationships. Examples, TikTok can program algorithm for the child will view, then children will not have a friction. We know that adab need to be exercised at home. It can be learned, the information can be learned at school, but need to be exercised at home with the guidance of mother and father. And AI gives the child exactly what they want without resistance. So bonding this child with a companion bot or mathematical goals that creates hallucination. So the results will remove this friction, breeds the child to be narcissism, and the child expect the real world to respond instantly to their whims. So this AI give the instant dopamine to this child. So I would like to share a concept. This one was mentioned by René Descartes. It's about bespoke realities. He said that many of us, often without realizing, inhabit unique version of reality. We follow different people, share different kind of content, and join different online communities. So we feel that is the truth to us, but our truth may be completely different from what someone else experienced in their own algorithm. So even within the same household, the family members live in different digital countries. So the prescription for this problem is we have to achieve a data sovereignty, just like what some countries are trying to do now, not depending on the US data sovereignty. We can see now Canada, France move toward that. We want to have our own large language model and also our own data localization that is independent from the outside influence. And also the most important, when we want to achieve this data sovereignty, is nothing when we don't have the human sovereignty. So we need to restore the family unit based on the role of the mother and father and also the extended families. So we have to ensure that our sovereignty has unique values. Our children and generation has respect for elders, and we gain back our collectivism and spirituality to survive the tsunami of digital globalization. A nation is only as strong as its smallest unit. Strong, cohesive families reduce social costs, which is the crime, which is the mental health issues that increasing now, and produce resilient citizens who are willing to sacrifice for greater good, counteracting the selfishness of individualism. So with that, I end. By restoring the family, we do not just save the home, but we preserve the civilization. I thank you. Assalamualaikum.
MashaAllah, Dr. Siti, you asked me to give you 20 minutes. They finished before time. That is very good, MashaAllah. So we have time to open for the questions. I think maybe we can get rid of this. Can you help us to... Maybe within 1 or 2 minutes, I'd like to summarize what has been discussed or presented by the 3 panelists. So we start with the first panelist that his main focus of discussion, it was on AI, being an expert on artificial intelligence, and that is Associate Professor Dr. Aznul. He looked at the content of AI and its impact and comparing it with the faith-based, when he mentioned related to Islamic perspective, the creation of man, the abilities, then how we can facilitate the intellectual intelligence when we have the impact of the artificial intelligence. So that is what he discussed, and perhaps what, based on the presentation that he made, something that is related to, we present what we have related to the reality itself, looking at AI being a reality that is dominating our community, especially the family. Now the thing it is how we can control the impact of AI. So what would be the solution to respond to these challenges? So then we have the second speaker, and maybe this is how I look at it. We have a gradual interpretation related to the topic of this panel. The second speaker, he shared his experience related to the family concerns, how we can respond to the challenges that we face in the daily family life. And according to him, it is like an opportunity that the AI is not like something that we have to hate, but something that we have to know how to manage it properly, how to monitor, and looking at the family life, dealing with the children, because that is something that is hidden. And how can we respond to this? It is how to get closer to the family, and how, and he's concerned that we are aware of it, when I talk about working parents, that is a problem that, if I say, that is unsolved problem. And maybe that could be as a result of financial crisis that many families in general and Muslim families are facing because of the rapid development. Now, when you look at the last presentation, that is Dr. Sarah, mashallah, that she's an expert related to the field of medicine and dealing with the community itself, how we respond to the community, and how she compared the AI like the symptoms that are in the body created by the virus. When we are affected by the virus, how can we respond to it? So when we take the medicine, then we have to know which medicine we have to take, the right medicine to cure this virus or to respond to this concern. And she worried about how we as human beings are going to respond to the AI in order to create an environment that is conducive and suitable for raising the children and the family. And one very important point that she mentioned here, and we are fathers, then we don't see the role of fathers at the family. According to the statistics that was mentioned, that how we have a shift of fatherly and motherly responsibilities to AI responsibilities. So it is like if we are allowing our children to focus on artificial intelligence and they are educated by this technology, then the responsibility is moved from our responsibility, and we look at as Muslims that Allah created everyone else with responsibility. I like the idea that she mentioned, when parents, they know both responsibilities related to the family, and we have to sacrifice to maintain this reality. Because what is the most important thing that at the end she concluded, it is that we have to care about our family and how to sustain our family. So overall, this is briefly what we have grasped from the three panelists. So let us give them a round of applause for their presentation. So now, due to time constraint, we are going to welcome three questions. So we can have one question from this row, one from the second row, and one from the third row. You can address the question directly to any of the panelists. And then after we collect the three questions, we are going to ask the panelists to provide the answers. Yeah, please. You raise your hand, introduce yourself, and you ask the question to the panelists. Yes, please. We have, at the back, we have a sister. Yes, sister, at the back, I saw your hand. The one that, yeah, please. Can you stand? Okay. Please introduce yourself. So, would you like her to come? Sorry, take off. Okay. Yeah, the sister at the back, you know? Yeah. Make it very brief, straight to the question. Huh? Unless you have a comment, if you have a comment, make it very short.
Assalamualaikum, nama saya Hasini, saya dari Yayasan Chowkit. I just want to ask the UM, the first speaker, okay, because I can't recall the names, about the AI. Is it Chat GPT? Is it they can recall the conversation, our conversation, like when we chat the Chat GPT, right? Is it the artificial intelligence can recall all the previous conversation we have, in the Chat GPT? That's it, the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Cecilia. Thank you. So we have the brother here at this row.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Professor Karim from Sri Lanka. I have two questions. First one, not related to this topic, but related to medical. You know, when we are using AI, however, we have to use some devices. How some research says that you don't need to, it is very disturbed. Medically, affection is there using the devices. So what is the minimum level children or we can use the devices? First. Second one, we know that the mass media is this one of the socialization agent, and the AI nowadays, however, it's become a socialization agent. So I am asking you that, why we cannot develop Islamic AI tools. Now I know one organization in Pakistan, they are developing AI chatbot. So they normally include the content related to Islamic. So we can have those kind of things. So if you know, please let us know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, brother. Another, okay, we have the sister here, this row. Yeah, please. The sister there.
My name is Fatima Shah from Philippines, a revert. My question is from general. As the years goes by, we improve and our technology also improving. So our technology is also improving to imitate the AI to us, the human being. So my question is, how you all foresee our future generation? Are we improving, or are we all going backwards towards the worst scenario of humanity? That's all.
Okay, thank you very much, sister. So we have collected the 3 questions. Now we are going to welcome the answer from the panelists. Maybe we can start with any one of you. Maybe the first one that is related to the usage of gadget that is mentioned by the first. Yeah, Doctor.
Okay, so the first question I think is quite straightforward lah. So our sister asked whether AI can recall or memorize our interactions, kan? With I think it's a big worry right now that whenever that we interact with AI, we are surrendering the information about what we have to the AI, what they call creators or developers. And I mean, to be honest, okay, so even before ChatGPT came into the picture, Meta, the founder of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, he was actually addressable to the Congress of the US because he was involved in this big scandal called Cambridge Analytica or something like that, I think, where information on Facebook was used to determine the political situation in the US. Okay, so it came to a certain extent that Facebook was very powerful, that the amount of information that Facebook is able to control can dictate and shift the political direction of a nation. And bear in mind that US is a huge nation. It's like a nation of 52 countries, 52 states. Okay. So now we have a shift from OpenAI, which is like you're pushing, if I might say, the usage of data on steroid. So whoever control the data is essentially able to manipulate the perception. So it's a game about perception. So if you look at the billionaires of the world right now, like Richard Branson, he controls Virgin Media, Virgin Airlines and whatnot. His pathway to greatness is actually through media. He's able to control the perception. If you look at India, Tata Industries, Mukesh Ambani, also Reliance, they control telco. Again, management and control of data and perception. So the sister is right. Okay. So right now, when we use technology, we have to be very mindful on how we use the technology. Obviously, OpenAI have their so-called standard answer in saying that, okay, whatever information that you ask, okay, it can only be stored within, I can't remember how many days, okay. After that, if you don't actually save it locally, they will delete it. But there have been steps, okay, in Malaysia, for example, right now, there's a concept called sovereign AI. Sovereign AI meaning to say that technology providers such as YTL are developing our own large language model. And that relates to the second question by the second gentleman, the need to develop our own self-governed AI that is under control. Okay, I think I can keep on talking, but I give it back to the moderator.
I try to understand the question. Impact of AI from medical perspective, is it? Okay. So AI is just like it can give you instant gratification. It's like software or social media content that fits you. It can give you medically, we would term it as instant dopamine. Dopamine is a happy hormone. And this instant dopamine is not good for your brain because when you receive it, you will not feel satisfied. You will not feel satisfied. You need more and more. So this dopamine, excess of dopamine will make your memory reduce. And this research shows that research by neuroscience has showed that people who use AI, depends on AI for writing, they had a slow memory response because the original content is actually not from them. So they are having trouble also to recall what they are writing and what they are actually giving to people. So we have to use AI cautiously because part of the research has showed that people who learn to write, learn to read before using the AI has showed excellence memory more than people who introduced to AI earlier.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sarah. 1 minute. Brother.
Yeah, I think I will try to answer the question on are we better or we worse now? And it's hard for me to, because I think maybe doctor can help with some statistic and everything. For example, on the issue of bully, I mean, people always come to me, the youth now, they are really problematic. And I always try to be a bit defensive because when I was younger, my elder generation will also blame me. Right? And now, those who are in my year also blaming the younger generation. For example, the bullying now become worse. But I would like to think that, like again, it's not data or anything. I like to think that there's always been like that. I mean, it's not. I don't have any data to see an increase or decrease. But what I can experience, what I am experiencing at the moment, is to see how things have changed. Even in my close circle, I have a friend who's actually his wife. I mean, they said his wife actually prefer to talk to ChatGPT whenever there's issue or problems and everything because they're so emotive. I mean, they're so a good listener. They tell you what you want to hear, and that caused a bit of a rift between husband and wife. I think that one of the, so when it comes to relationship, I can see that how it has changed. And again, it goes back to us and how we need to be reminded whether all these things, are they the tools or are we the tools, right? We have to be reminded that the power is on us. We are the user. So we can decide and dictate on what we want to see if we choose to do it. But unfortunately now, we have too dependent on this thing. And then, I mean, I think recently also there was a Facebook post that became viral where a mother who worked in Japan leave the child, a 3-year-old child at home and leaving phone and using what I call CCTV just to talk to the child while working. So this is how bad we are now because we believe that this thing can replace our responsibility and role as a parent. Because while we're working, this phone can entertain the kid. And unfortunately, as you know, the word of brain rot is there. So the symptoms and the trajectory seems that it can get worse. But to say that are we worse now, are we better off now or later, I'm not sure. I mean, I because I'm coming from the eye of optimism. I only see there's a lot of, this is good. We have a lot of opportunity as long as we decide to take charge of it, be the leader in our life rather than letting it others to take care of our life.
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Adli. So let me just, we conclude what is the most important thing that we learn from this session. As believers, we have to move forward to what is priority for us as Muslims in particular and members of other religious communities, looking at the topic that is faith. So we have to look at it from the faith perspective. So we have to make sure that our children will not believe that AI is replacing their identity as Muslims, Christians, Hindus or Buddhists or according to their tradition. So if we manage to do that as parents to maintain the identity, I believe that AI will become like supporting tool. Then we create a friendly environment where they can benefit instead of allowing AI to take over and replace what is very important for us. So with that, I would like to thank the panelists, Dr. Aznul and Brother Adli and Dr. Siti Sarah for being very humble, presenting the ideas and thoughts related to the topic. And would like to thank the organizers, especially Brother Jamaluddin, for giving me this opportunity to moderate this session. And with that, would like to close. Thank you very much. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
With that, we conclude our first forum on the impact of AI on faith and family institutions. Our sincere thanks to the panelists and moderator for their valuable insights, and we hope this session has offered useful knowledge and inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will continue to our second forum on impact of moral values in the integration of family and society, with our three distinguished panelists. The first is Professor Dr. Syed Muhammad Khairul Al-Junid, Associate Professor at National University of Singapore. Secondly, Professor Dr. Haslinda Abdullah, Psychosocial Factors at Universiti Putra Malaysia. And the last one is Mr. Jason Leong, founder of Better Dads Malaysia, and will be moderated by Mr. Arif Aiman from Peace Dialogue and Xenophobia Studies Centers, PEDIXS-IIUM. Please welcome them with warm round of applause.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very pleasant morning to everyone here. Alhamdulillah, we're gathered in a space where we can engage with each other and also to learn from our panelists and everyone present. So my name is Arif Arman. I'm with the Peace Dialogue and Xenophobia Studies Center at the International Islamic University Malaysia. And I'm very honored to be here, to be invited again. And I see that jodoh saya dengan Mr. Jason very strong. We've been on the same panel for 3 times now, Mr. Jason. 3 times we've been on the same panel. Jodoh kuat. Yes. So with me today on the panel on the title of Impact of Moral Values in the Integration of Family and Society, we have Professor Dr. Haslinda Abdullah, who is Professor of Applied Psychology at the Department of Social and Development Sciences, Faculty of Human Ecology, Universiti Putra Malaysia, UPM. She attained her PhD from the Institute of Work, Health and Organizations at the University of Nottingham in the UK, specializing in applied psychology. Currently, her focus is on youth and development, and her credentials and knowledge on the Malaysian youth is reflected in her role as a member of the think tank for the Institute for Youth Research, IRES, under the Ministry of Youth and Sports Malaysia. Her research also focuses on sexual and reproductive health. Next to her, we have Professor Dr. Syed Khairuddin Al-Junid, who is a sought-after specialist on studies of Asia and the Muslim world. He was listed as one of the world's 500 most influential Muslims in 2024. And currently, he is attached to the International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization as a lecturer and also serves as the editor-in-chief for Al-Sajarah. And he attained his PhD from the School of Oriental and African Studies, SOAS, London, and has written extensively across varied platforms. And among his publications include Islam in Malaysia and Entwined History 2023 and Contemplating Sufism, Dialogue and Tradition Across Southeast Asia, which was published earlier this year. Next to him, we have Mr. Jason Leong, who is co-founder of Better Dads, an NGO engaging in questions of family and well-being by empowering fathers He's also active in interfaith dialogues and represents the Christian faith in such panels. To add, Mr. Leong is CEO of Better Minds Sendirian Berhad. So, Alhamdulillah, I'm very blessed to be here, and I'd like to open the floor now to Professor Dr. Haslinda Abdullah. Bismillah.
Thank you very much. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. I'm sorry, I just cannot stand still. It's not my style to stand still. I have to walk. So we are talking about families, we are talking about our children, we are talking about values, yeah? So this morning I've got glitch with my youngest, 15 years old. It's rainy. I actually have registered him to attend this workshop on photo shoot by Saiful Nang. Yeah. So 1 day session. He do not want to get involved with anything at this age, you know. So I just said to him that I have registered you for the session, and then you have to go. You just cannot stay on the bed and have a sweet dream all day long. Yeah. So now is a holiday for the Malaysian, and it's quite difficult for my youngest and me to get along because I think because of generation gap. Yeah, and then our intention back then is, if you ask our parents, we would ask for a new pencil box, yeah? So you know what did he ask me? And he's very, very angry that I didn't accept his request. He wants a motorbike. 15 years old, you know, 15 years old motorbike. And then he said that, well, his other friends have a very good parents because they allow him to ride a motorbike. I said, you are not even allowed to have a license at 15. Yeah. And he said that you are very, I don't know why, but I'm having a very strict parents. And you know what? A strict parents will only make their children, you know, disobey the rules. Okay, I said, then you go and find any parents that you want to be with, and you just cannot be with me. And we do not talk for quite some time. I have to be firm with this young one. I have 6, okay? And it's very difficult. Trust me, every and then he will say that, you know what, I can go to the mosque, I'm not going to disturb you, I can assist you buying things that you want. And today, since I'm sending him, now, where's my handphone? He's sending me, he said that, did you buy me foods? Because there's a break, you know, between the session. And I said, oh my God, I forgot to order the foods. You see, if you buy me a motorbike, I can go on my own. You know, you don't have to order it for me, blah, 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 blah. And then I said, list down 15 reasons why I need to buy you a motorbike. He said that it's just, I don't understand. I believe you are a professor in psychology. Yes, I am. But you are not acting like one. I said, I'm sorry that I'm not acting like one. So it's not that easy to be a professor in psychology, and you have this Gen Z that, I don't know, in terms of his mind, he's very matured. Yeah, he has all the reasons. He has all the answers. Yeah, it's very difficult. And he sent me a picture of what he did this morning. Nice picture. So I said, now you see why I'm sending you there. But still, he's not satisfied with me because I'm still not buying his motorbike. So where's my slides? I need to see my, is that my slide? Why is my face? I do not want to see my face. Next. Is only my face? Oh, sorry. I'm not expecting. I did send you my slides. All right. Yes, that's my slides. Okay. I don't think I'm going to use this. Is that when I'm telling you stories, we Malay, we like to tell stories, yeah? And then we gossips. And when we gossips, I tend to speak in Malay. So sorry if I did that during my session. Now, impact of moral values in the integration of family and societies. I think what I want to share with you is that I realized that when I send my children to, all my children were sent to Seri Abin, okay? At least up till Form 3. Well, and only now that they mention how they are very thankful. Before this, they keep on arguing, why are we being sending to this Islamic school? And there's so many restrictions, blah, 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 blah. But I realized because they told me so. Okay? Now, okay. That picture shows a father and a boy. Why am I showing you that picture? Because nowadays, when I go on the ground giving a training to youngsters, their main issues is with their father. Trust me, they argue with mother all the time, but their main issue with their father. It's all of you here, right? Mr. Jason knows it, isn't it? Yeah. So the family foundation of society in Islam. Okay. So that values is the main values that we want to instill in our family or our next generation. And in Islam, Surah Ar-Rum, end of his science is that he created for you from yourself what mates that you may find tranquility in them, and he placed between you affection and mercy. Indeed, in that are signs for a people who give thoughts. We just have, yesterday we have what? Those Malaysian, they know very well. We have a wedding of one artist. Am I right? You don't know? You don't have to know. Never mind. Era Fazira. Yes. So one of the statement from her is that she just wanted to have peace and tranquility. Yeah? Don't we all want that? But let us look at the statistic of Malaysia. Next. All right, next. All right. Okay, moral values. Okay, basically it's an ethical foundation for both individuals and communities. And of late, we are quite worried, am I right, of these moral issues of moral values. We have, and recently we have, I call it, right, White Towels case. Those who knows, those who don't know, please explore more, right? In the context of family and society, it is something that guides our behavior, regulates social interactions, and shapes psychological development, right? When we say psychological development, of course it's a process. It's a socialization process. How you interact with your family members. What are the things that you instill inside them? For me, when I send them to school, one of the things that I did, apart from ceramah antarabangsa, membebel, okay, I also asked, we have to recite maksurat, Okay, those two things, okay, is a must for them, right? And Islamic values serve as the core, okay? We are talking about psychology, but psychology is actually within the context of the community, yeah? Because you can see what, recently in Western, they are allowing groups, they under the DSM-5, gay or lesbian or LGBT is no longer an abnormal behavior, right? So psychology, it is something within the context of where you were raised, okay? Now, morality is enriched through spiritual, social, and ethical teachings drawn from the Quran, Sunnah, and Islamic tradition. Next. Okay, let's look at the statistics. Marriage and divorce. It's so small, isn't it? You cannot see, sorry. I myself cannot see. Come on. Okay, but basically it's increasing. Okay? And domestic violence increasing. And of late, we have been listening to of an issue with regards to femicide. You know, femicide? Killing because of your gender, especially the female. Okay. And also protection cases, all right? So everything is in a very chaos situation, okay? So this is what we are facing now. And we are talking about the moral values in the families and the community and how the psychological part plays its role. Next. Right, okay, this is the core values of Islamic teachings that are supposed to strengthen our youngsters and ourselves too. Of course, honesty and trust. When you speak to your children, they have to trust you to obey whatever you are asking them, just like my son just now. They have to trust me. Am I right? So, one thing that I realized, what I did with all my children is that when things, the trust develop through times, right? Kindness and empathy, of course, patience and tolerance and forgiveness. Next. I mean, if I finish all my slides, you know, the rest of you wouldn't have your time. As unifying force, of course, and then based on this, we as Khalifah, I think we have been mentioning, and then, I mean, looking at your face all, you know, shining with Iman, inshallah, you know about Khalifah. But whether you really know, how are you supposed to implement it in your own family? We are doing da'wah, you know, but how is our reflection, or how do we guide our children? We are complaining that our children do not want to listen to us. We are complaining that they do, we do not have time to discuss with children. Hello, excuse me, why are you all working? For families. And then you are saying that you do not have time for your families. I'm so sorry. This morning, you know, I'm sending, you know, the 15 years old one, I'm not going to mention his name, maybe later for you to make dua for him. Yeah. And then I told him that, you know, there's one time when he didn't speak to me for 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, 2 weeks. I said, never mind, let us see. And then I told him, fine, you know why I can't do this to you? What is it that I'm telling? See, that shows the age. Okay, a 50 is like this. Never mind, I'll recap later. But we are talking about Khalifah. Khalifah is the one who's a role model. Am I right? A role model. How many of our fathers here you can say that you can be a role model to your children? I hope all. Trust me. And there are two things that a role model or a father should do. The first one is Khalifah, provider and protector. You know, sometimes you look at it in a very simple manner. But for youngsters, they look at you, you know, they really appreciate when you provide for them. And how many times, how many cases that we have seen in Malaysian context is the mother who provides everything. Now, I do not have problems if the, you know, the main breadwinner is the lady, but the father should shows that there is an effort to provide and to protect. Yeah, even, you know, the way you sit, you know, shows that whether you are a protector or not. For example, okay, this is a restaurant. This is the door of the restaurant. A protector would sit, how would they sit? Facing the door. Yeah? Okay, balik dia tengok. Okay, next. Next. When we talk about psychosocial perspective, I just would like to take three. Bronfen Brenner, Eric Erickson, and also Bandura. Okay, and how does this mold? How do we, with moral values and Islamic foundation? Next. All right. Erickson's psychosocial theory, it emphasized on the healthy development depends on resolving social and emotional conflicts at each stage. They have 8 stages in Eric Erickson's theory, okay? Moral values acquired in childhood, such as trust, autonomy, and initiative, all this helps individuals develop integrity, empathy, and responsibility. And with regards to Islamic core foundation, families rooted in Islamic moral foster truth, amanah, integrity, siddiq, and autonomy grounded in accountability before God. That's why, you know, counseling session is very important to understand all these elements. Okay, I need to rush. I do not want to take the two of our father here to present their case after this. Next. Social learning, Bandura. People learn morals through observation, imitation, reinforcement, and modeling. You know, I've got cases, gays, okay, because of parents, father. I'm so sorry, guys. Today, the attacks is on the father. It's not the attacks, actually. I mean, because of the role. Yeah, the role of the father is very, very important. How, if you miss that important part, then you miss your role in guiding your younger generation. So in an Islamic family, moral behaviors such as respect, charity, and honesty are constantly modeled by parents and reinforced by religious practice. Right. I don't think we have time to show you the one of the video that I prepared. Actually, you can watch this, The Pursuit of Happiness. Okay, how the father, is striving, even though he has been sacked from his job, and then, but he acts as a provider and as a protector for his boy. Yeah? Right, next. Brunfeld Brenner, human development occurs within interrelated system, family, school, community, and social norms. Nowadays, we have issues of mental health everywhere. Internationally, it's very high. In Malaysia, 1 out of 5. So if inside here, we have around 100 participants, how many of you is probably having a mental health issue? How many? Yeah, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Easily you can have those issues. All right. So Islamic moral teachings influence all systems: family structure, community relations, education, and legislation, creating a coherent environment for moral development. So these are the things that we need to strive for. The family. Now we are looking at the family as something so simple. Yeah. Nowadays we are so busy of, I don't know, we are busy of what? Do you realize that during COVID, then you realize that you don't even know why are you being busy? Do you realize that? And now you repeat again after the COVID. Nothing learned from COVID-19. Am I right? So that's why this morning I managed to cook curry at least.
And stories of even Oedipus. So the family unit, when Oedipus, of course, the problem was that his relationship with his mother was perhaps non-existent, Jocasta. Then, of course, we know what happens next. He had to kill his own father, and this kind of dynamic is actually quite compelling because even though it's mythology, it plays out in real life. And of course, in terms of language itself, in terms of communication, Ludwig van Wittgenstein said that the limits of language, the limits of my world. So of course, when we are limited in the language that we use for our children, we are limited in those expressions that they could back to us, and also ultimately when they become adults. So thank you very much for your presentation. We now like to move on to Mr. Jason.
Close to my house, my neighborhood, me and brother Jamal's neighborhood, Pada Utama. And it's shocking for a boy to be able to stab someone 50 times, according to the police, 50 kali, 50 times repeatedly, without feeling anything. Ordinary person, you stab a person 3 times, you see the blood, you run away. But this boy, they did 50 times. That means he is in a world of his own. He has constructed a particular narrative that is his own world. And maybe he's thinking that he's actually not stabbing a human being, it's something else. All right? So, because the mind of our children has been shaped by now, not just what parents say to them, but what the algorithms is dictating to them, because they are always online. Next slide. Okay, let me quickly go to this because if you are aware that early this year there was this Netflix drama called Adolescence, which created a lot of interest worldwide. When I watched that drama, it was a 5-episode drama. I thought it was, wow, this is United Kingdom, because this boy got a gun and he shot the classmate or the schoolmate. But later did I know that Malaysia, we are actually next level, higher than United Kingdom. Thank God that Malaysian gun laws are very strict, so not easy to get a gun, but it was very easy for the boy to get a knife and a weapon. In fact, the BU boy, he bought 4 weapons, 4 knives over a period of 1 month. So the police investigation was that it was intentional, it was premeditated, it was planned. It wasn't a crime of passion where he just go amok and then run to the canteen or the kitchen, take the knife and stab the girl. No, it was planned. He bought those knives. And it has gone through over a number of times. So there's a lot of similarities in Netflix. So you can see here, I won't go through all of them, but the one important point that I want to touch is this: the lack of connection. Under the Ministry of Youth, under the Ministry of Health, there is a NHMS that is done every 5 years, or they do it every year. NHMS stands for National Morbidity and Health Survey. And during the last NHMS in 2022, the next one will be 2027, it shows that there is a lack of parental connection between children and their parents. It dropped from 35% to only 24%. So only 24%, 1/4 of our children in Malaysia feels that they are connected to the parents. So how serious is this? That means the parents are already losing that kind of connection and that communication. So if the children are no longer connected to the parents, who are they connected to? If they have friends, real friends and classmates, yes, they will be connected there. But if they don't have, that means their friends are in the online world. And the important thing for fathers, I think all of us want to be good fathers. And many of us are actually good fathers with good intention. But the fact is that always remember that you can be physically present, but yet you're emotionally absent. Many years ago, one of the reasons why I started Better Dads Malaysia was because I knew I was failing as a father. I think I was a good man. I provide, I bring money, I put food on the table, I'm the breadwinner. What more you want, woman? But it is still not enough. My clients saw me at my best. I'm a good corporate advisor out there. But my families saw me at my worst. Because the moment I step home, muka also, the face is like easily irritable, short-tempered, don't want to talk, don't kacau me, don't disturb me, let me go into my bed cave. All shut off. My quota of words for that day is already finished. I already spoke too much out there advising my clients. But my wife's quota, the women's quota, baru nak start. So, how? Cannot talk. So, but thank God, I realized it in time to be able to catch it and say that, okay, enough is enough. I cannot keep on making a life. I cannot keep on making a living. I need to make a life. So I need to be emotionally present too, at home. So when I come home, I must be present. Next slide. One of those things that we need to learn about how to prevent violence is also to understand the terms that the children, our kids and teenagers are learning online. Now, these are a sampling of those terms. These are very strange terms. The emojis they use are not the same emojis like our WhatsApp emojis. You look at them, you know, you see some fruit emoji. Actually, that's a sexualized imagery. And then there is a term called incel. Incel stands for involuntary celibate. It is only peculiar to boys and young men. This is a person who is unable to have a romantic relationship or a sexual relationship with the opposite sex. And he blames it on the girl, on the woman. So, I am celibate, but on an involuntary basis. And I'm an incel. And this incel group is a very big group out there in the online world. And many of them belong to that incel group. And the worst thing is that if a young boy is learning to be about to join that group, and he posts something, maybe a sexist jokes about women, I say, and this is a woman's fault lah, this is the girl's fault lah. And he will get a lot of applause from that group. And people, the group will say, yes, exactly, you're right, bravo, hoorah, wonderful, right on. This is it. It is always the woman's fault. And then from there, this poor, lonely young boy who has no affirmation from the father or the family begin to seek this kind of affirmation, and he will post more and more extreme things. So from just sexist jokes, it will develop into hatred. From hatred, it can become violence. So there you are. The other thing is about I have seen the truth. Then there's a term called NPC. That one is red pill. Red pill comes from the movie Matrix. NPC means non-player character. You see, it is a very dehumanizing term. The moment the teenage boy begins to dehumanize a girl and say that she is an NPC, that means you are a non-person. It doesn't count. You are a non-player character. In video games, there are NPCs, there are small little characters that are very irritating and come and kacau you, and then you will kill them. You know, these are small demons or small devils. So when they do that, and he begins to dehumanize this particular a girl especially into an NPC, reduced to an NPC, then it means nothing for him anymore. When he kills her, it's nothing. I'm just killing an NPC, like it's just a utter good riddance, you know. It's an irritant. So this is why the BU4 school killing is very complicated. Cannot just blame everything on the social media, but there is a lot of things. Next slide. Okay, let me just quickly go to what parents can do. Obviously, I just put there 8 things, very simple. First of all, be curious, but do not accuse. If you want to communicate with your teens and your children, never accuse them. The moment you scold them, you shut the door. Ask them questions. And don't ask them a question like, hey, how is school? How is homework? My kids, when they were young, they would tell, like that, lo, okay, lo, fine, lo, whatever. So you have to ask them questions that provoke them. Who is that particular teacher in your school that really irritated you today and you really hate her? Tell me about her. You invite a good conversation. I know it's not very nice, but it will come. Then they will start to pour out. I'm that classmate. Then you have something rather than say, how's the exam? Okay, lo. So be curious. Understand the digital world. Learn about the world. My son wanted to play Minecraft. I hated Minecraft because I cannot understand Minecraft. And I cannot play. But I forced myself to play Minecraft. Then he went into Discord. He doesn't like WhatsApp. You know, I don't know why. I communicate only on Discord. Oh my goodness, what's Discord? So I got to download Discord. I have to communicate with him on Discord. Right? Then he went into Roblox. I also don't know how to play Roblox. I also have to learn. No choice. You see, like what Prof said, you, the initiative comes from you. You are the father, you are the parent, you are the one. You are bigger than him. So you have to do it. You can't ask him to come to you. You have to come to him. Or you have to go to him. Right? So this is what it is. And then set boundaries. When you set boundaries, explain it. Don't just say, my house, my rules. You stay in my house, you follow my rules. I don't care. Explain a bit, you know. I think children like some kind of respect. If you respect them, they will respect you and the conversation start. Fourthly, you need to do some teaching about how to be about critical thinking and media literacy, social media literacy. Teach them to think a bit critically. Don't just accept everything that's on social media. So that they can know. If these people say like that, you know, what does it mean? Why like that? So if they begin to question it, they themselves will come to their own conclusion and say that, yeah, this is bad. So, model respectful behavior. Fathers and men, I know we quarrel with our wives, all right? But the worst thing to do is that never quarrel in front of your children and tell your wife, you are You are the trouble lah. You are the one who caused all the problem lah. You are the one that make all the problems in the family lah. Because the moment the children hear all this, they will remember and say, yeah, my dad say it's the woman's fault. It is always the wife's fault. It is the girl's fault. The moment they do that, because they model your behavior, then they will repeat it. So please remember that. Number 6, encourage offline activities and real relationship. So offline is very important. Don't let them spend too much time online in the room, close, behind locked doors or behind closed doors or whatever. Take them out. My son wanted to do boxing. So I was very happy. So I spent money, buy everything for him, take him boxing. I also joined boxing. I also joined MMA. Better to go out there, go and beat somebody or fight in the ring rather than go and play. At least he, all the tension he can release. The sandbag, I put up big sandbag in my house. So real activities, real friends is very important. Because the friends that he has online, sometimes they are very dangerous because we don't know where they are. And then 7thly, teach emotional vocabulary. You see, when boys are not able to label their emotions, then they will act on it and they will act wrongly. So emotions like when they feel rejected, they must be able to label it and be able to own it and understand that this is part of life. Okay, rejection, frustration, disappointment. Okay lah, we live and let live. This is life. But if they cannot accept that, then they have an emotional hang-up, and this is very, very dangerous. And then they will go and do certain actions which is which is very bad. That's why it's good that the Ministry of Education is now talking about teaching character education. I hope it touches on the EQ part, the emotional part, so that we need to begin to get in touch with the emotion of the child. The child's emotional character and his mindset, scientific studies have said that they started as young as age 11, will be very vulnerable. It goes all the way to age 25 actually, before they actually stop development. By age 25, you are already pretty rigid. Your character is like that already. So there is a huge age number of years where you can really shape that mindset. So do not let the world or the online algorithm shape them. Shape it yourself. And lastly, model respectful speech and empathy. I've always said, for fathers, the best gift that you can give to your children is to love their mothers. And that is why we conduct fathering workshop is exclusively only for men. Men cannot learn how to father. There's no manual. We only learn how to father through our default mode. My father me like that. I father lah. Same lah. If positive, it's okay. If negative, it's very bad. My father tempering me one time. I tempering my son twice lah. So that kind of fathering is bad. That's why we want to break that cycle. And we say, okay, you don't know how to father, come to us. So the wives out there, your husband or your partners don't know how to father, send them to us, to Better Dads, and we will teach them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jason. Thank you, Mr. Jason, for such a compelling presentation. I think it's very important, although I'm not a father yet. So, hopefully down the line. Next up, we have Professor Dr. Syed Khairuddin Al-Junid. Bismillah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is not a second keynote address. And I just want to begin first with what Jason had said just now. I must admit, Jason, I'm a bad father. So I think I need to find for my children another mother. Don't do that. I just want to add, Mara there, very, very angry. She's part of the Malaysian Muslim feminist group. A very good friend of mine. I just want to underline first the point that was brought up by Jason, that the first step the way I see it, at least from our tradition as Muslims, to be a good father is actually to love your wife more. Because kids actually learn their first stimuli in terms of understanding what it means to be a good human being is to look at us treating our women, our wives well. And I think this is the thing that is lacking in our community right now, especially we born in the kind of old school way where fathers do not need to express emotions to their wives. So for the men here, please hug your wives more, kiss them more, show love and romanticism to your wife in front of your kids. Of course, don't do the explicit stuff. But from the tradition of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to kiss his wife, he used to hug his wife, all in front of the presence of his children. And this is something that we need to revive in our community. And if we are on record, this has always been my appeal to the religious teachers in Singapore, the asatizas, my own children and my son-in-law, my eldest daughter is already married. I encourage them to talk more about how to love. And this is something that we do not talk about enough. How to love, especially between husbands and wives. So the problem that we have in terms of divorce that is so high in the Malay community has to do with the fact that we just don't know how to love. The women know how to love, but the man has become desensitized to understanding that the real love is about doing your job at work. So while I was on the way on the Grab to the hotel, there was this lady who has a mother of 4 children. She was I don't know why, she was opening up to me her story. She got a divorce. She has 4 kids. She was divorced for the last 13 years. And she asked for the divorce precisely because her husband did not show emotion. And she said it to me in Malay. But I will not tell this story to my wife. I hope she's not listening because she's a single mom. But she was telling me that the love, dia cakap, cinta dah menjadi kosong. She said the love has turned to zero. It has become zilch. And at the point in time where she said she felt nothing for him, she told him it's over. Right? And nothing he did to ask her to come back could change her mind. So this is the thing that I just want to begin with that, because I thought Jason brought up many excellent points, especially on fatherhood, that we need to take note of. Now, my part of the talk is supposed to be on Singapore. Now, whenever we talk about Singapore, it's all about the beautiful things. Everybody wants to be Singapore now. We talk to universities in Indonesia. I was in Semarang. We go to USM, any university in Malaysia. Everybody wants to benchmark with Singapore. Singapore is like the heaven and the haven for everybody and anybody. So I'm just going to give you some stats first. I don't want to put it on screen because the impact will not be powerful enough. I just want to say, just now we were talking about AI, according to a sample of 1,000 Singaporeans, this is a government survey, they found that 59% of Singapore residents have used generative AI, which means that more than 2 out of 3 are now using AI. So we're talking about people who are old, the atuk-atuk and nenek-nenek, all the way down to children. 8 out of 10 Singaporeans believe that AI will boost the Singapore economy. 6 out of 10 believe that AI will benefit society. And of course, Singapore will be, and they have no choice because we are very small, the frontier of AI in the whole of ASEAN, because we want to be the economic hub, we want to create new jobs, we want to be talent hub, and so forth and so forth. But what have AI also brought to countries like Singapore? So Singapore is not an exception. Japan, Korea, all of the tiger economies are headed to the same direction, because I will return back to what our 2 speakers have spoken about before. It has led to job displacement. It has led to income inequality. It has led to economic shocks. And now it is a big public concern because there's a lot of misinformation and there's a lot of addiction. Singapore is also faced with, because of this high use of the internet and people are always online, the whole idea now what we call as brain rot. Now, brain rot has led to another issue. The number of people getting dementia, or in Malay we call nyanyok, or in Indonesian we call pikun. In Arabic, it's called, not majanin, where you become Alzheimer's disease. What the Arabic word for it is? Makuf, ahmak, maybe, right? This is high in Singapore. People as early as in their mid-30s are getting dementia, right? Now, on the one hand, you have a country that is moving at supersonic speed that Malaysia wants to be. On the other hand, because of these breakthroughs in AI and technology and materialism, there's another dimension that has not been talked about enough. I'm a Singaporean. I'm not like trash bashing my country, but I'm telling us something that we need to take note of because you are not from Singapore. What is happening in Singapore right now is that Singapore has the highest suicide rate in the whole of Southeast Asia. The report by the government, cited by WHO, says that 11.2 out of 100,000 people have already committed suicide. The number of suicide in Singapore is more than 400 a year, which means that as I'm talking to you right now, somebody has killed him or herself, and somebody is contemplating to kill him or herself. 1 out of 4 young people, according to a study by the NSSI, have hurt themselves at least once in their lives, and they begin hurting themselves at the age of 14 years old. And they will keep on doing it until the age of 18 years old. So that's one trend. What is the result? What is the cause of this? Partly because of the materialistic life that we have, but partly because of this overuse of technological instruments. And now, as you all know, young people are now spreading suicide manuals, developed in full in a very highly developed country in Japan, and now it's entering into the social media world. Now, that's not all. Singaporeans are also suffering, according to study, I'm not fudging it up, from the suffocating loneliness, because many Singaporeans have entered into marriages but are having, go back to what Jason is trying to tell us, sexless marriages. I repeat, they get married, but they are sexless. They don't have sex even when they are in marriage. Why they don't have sex? Because of stress, fatigue, and low marriage satisfaction that leads to low sexual activity. So this whole idea that anyone in Singapore will have 6 children, someone like me and our professor here, we are dinosaurs in Singapore, right? The reason is because the total fertility rate for Singapore in 2023 is 0.97 per woman, which means that the Singaporean population is not replaceable. Elon Musk is somehow half correct when he said that Singapore will be extinct very, very soon. Singaporeans, according to a quality of life survey done in Singapore in 2002, have become less happy over the last decade. But those who are happier, and I'm going to get into this point, embrace family and traditions. That means they are traditional, right? Care about society and the environment. They may have less money, they may have less social status, but they are more satisfied with life. No, so I'm painting the doom and gloom about Singapore, but I'm also saying that our societies elsewhere, and especially in Malaysia, I know Malaysians complain a lot. Pasal banjir lah, pasal flood. Malaysians, whenever I come to KL, they will always complain about the jam and butter and so forth and so forth. There's always jam every day. I go to Penang, people also talking about jam. But I'm telling you that your countries, especially the African brothers and sisters who are here, have something that Singapore has forgotten, right? And what is this thing? This is what we call as the moral horizon or the moral ballast that many societies outside these societies that are so developed actually have. And there are a few things that I want to talk about that is linked to not only Islamic values, but also Asian values as a whole. How then do we recover the role of fathers in our society? How can we have sex marriages? Now it's sexless marriages. How can we have more interaction in the midst of all of these distractions that we have from AI? I feel that the way forward is for us to restore a few concepts that are predominant in our societies. I'm going to use Arabic concepts, but these concepts are also available in Chinese, Indian, and other philosophical traditions. The first is the concept of wasatiyah, moderation. The problem that we have with technology now is the problem of ghulu, extremism. Your phone, if you are using Samsung, which I do, I think my enemy phone Apple would do the same. They will assess how many hours you use your phone per day. Studies have shown if you are using your phones more than 4 hours a day looking at the screen, it basically shows, other than doing work, if you're just going through social media, your phone can now give you the analytics, your brain are set towards brain rot, whether you like it or not. If you have spent 4 hours a day on the phone, it shows that you are extremely unsocial towards the people outside the phone. So from this concept of moderation, which is also a Confucianist concept, we can actually recover our sense of humanity. The second is the concept of hisab, accountability. And this message goes to the fathers, that if you are always on the screens watching Manchester United versus Liverpool, both teams are not doing very well right now, then you're not doing your job. And this is the problem. Hasibu qabla yuhasabu. Simple. And this is something that we have forgotten. The idea of being accountable with time, with the use of technology, begins first, as I mentioned just now during the keynote, at home. By 9 o'clock at night, all fathers should be turning off the phone. Is that possible? Not possible. First EPL match starts at 10:30 p.m. How to turn off the phone? This is the crisis. The crisis is not with the kids using their technologies. The crisis actually with the fathers and mothers not being able to turn off the phones when they ought to do so. Why don't they turn off the phones and technologies? Because they are not accountable to themselves. But they expect their children to be accountable towards their own health and development. So this is the second issue. Now, if you go away a little bit from the Islamic traditions, in the Asian tradition, especially the Chinese tradition, which I am very exposed to because Singapore is a predominant Chinese-dominated country, in Asian values, especially in social values, there is what we call as the virtue of communitarianism, which means that the individual is not as important as the community. And this is what we need to recover in our society, especially amongst our families, to make them understand that when you use the phone, the technologies, you are on your own. But when you step out of technology and be with community, the community will help you navigate your way through these technologies. And that's why in Malay tradition, the cultivation of the idea of respect and communitarianism is so powerful. Because at the end of the day, what we need to do is to teach the kids to learn how to talk. To teach the kids to learn how to talk. How to teach the kids how to learn how to talk? The way to teach the kids on how to talk is taught to us in the Quran. This morning I mentioned about Surah Luqman, and I'm going to mention Surah Luqman again for the non-Muslims here in chapter 31 in the Quran, in the second page of the chapter. Allah tells us about the story of Luqman. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا لُقْمَانَ الْحِكْمَةَ أَنِشْكُرْ لِلَّهِ وَمَنْ يَشْكُرْ فَإِنَّمَا يَشْكُرُ لِنَفْسِهِ وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ حَمِيدٌ. And then Luqman went on to talk to his child. How did he talk to his child? He talked to his child in a dialogical way. And this is the thing that we need to recover. The dialogical approach to parenting in order to make them see that we are more important than technology. What is the dialogical way of parenting? That means parenting to learn from your children. And this is tough for Muslim families. Can you learn from your kids? No way. I have eaten, as they say in Malay, I have eaten more salt. If you eat more salt, you are set for heart disease. Right? But at the end of the day, we are in a society now where the idea of knowledge and learning has become inverted. In the past, we become the storehouse of wisdom to give to our children. But now, because of technology, Luqman in the Quran is teaching us that we now need to learn from our children and listen to them and question them and tell them what they need in order to understand the very questions that they have in their hearts. And last but not least, I'm not going to take so much of the time because I think we should have more questions and answers. We need to move beyond being smart nations, like what Singapore is. Singapore always calls itself a smart nation, into becoming a balanced civilization. A civilization, a tamadun al-mizan, a tamadun that is mizan. And this balance can only come when we do not engage in moral laxity, we do not engage in technological extremity, but we restore the idea that we need to progress through moral cultivation and social harmony. I feel that our societies here in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in other parts of Southeast Asia have the very ingredients for us to face with the technological challenges that we have now. What we need to do now is actually to dig back into our traditions, reinterpret it, package it in such a manner that our children can understand, that our societies can benefit. Then we can construct a new society that knows how to use AI properly, effectively, with wisdom in order to build a society with strong families. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Khairuddin Al-Junid, for a very insightful presentation on family dynamics, especially in the context of Singapore as well. So we'd like to take some time for questions and answers from the floor. But if I may start with the ball rolling, get the ball rolling, my question is Professor Dr. Haslinda, with regards to this notion of, if, for example, if a child talks to a parent, not in a very rude way, but just talking back, there's this notion in Malay, I don't know if we call it adat, anak derhaka. So how do we, psychologically come out from this term anak derhaka? Because obviously it's something that can actually penetrate the heart and lead the child, having, guilty feelings. So how do we deal with this?
This is kebat soalan. All right. I believe it's just that the parents it's a way of parents of not wanting to deal with it accordingly. Yeah, it's just a way of them to show that they are better, and then you better keep quiet. That's it. Settle. Yeah. But nowadays, I don't think they will accept it. Why am I being derhaka if I just want to have more answers from you? Yeah. So it's just a matter of, sometimes it's just our ego, but we have to sit down with them and, deal with them. Yeah, not just ignore them or undermine them. That's not the way, basically. But I agree with you. That's the psychological way to, the youngsters. But it doesn't work now.
Doesn't work now, but maybe for people who have had that experience, growing up is very difficult.
It is very true. Yeah, it's kind of a trauma for them. Yeah.
All right. Any questions from the floor? We've got one. We've got two. Yes, brother at the back. Can someone please pass him a mic? Oh yeah, ni. Okay.
Okay, thank you. My name is Harry Mapondo. I just want to pose my question to Prof. Haslinda. Since we are in a digital world, is the digital world shaping the morals and values and principles that our families lived by? Thank you.
AI, digital world, and knife, it's all the same. It's just a tools. They don't change anything. We are the one who change things. We are the one who assume that they change us. but actually we are the one who change the values that we are having. That is my opinion. Because after this, before this, we are into digital world, and then we are having AI. And what next? What next? What next? So we cannot blame others. We need to understand who we are, what are our roles as a father, or the roles in a family, and then only we can understand whether the value is we want to blame the the distortion or the delusion of the values to others. It's us.
Any more questions? Okay, we got one at the back, and then oh no, our brother here. Sorry. Here dekat depan dulu. Okay, boleh. Ladies first, that's right.
Jazakallah khairan. Taking ladies as first.
Sorry, could you please stand up, if that's okay, and introduce yourself?
I am Dr. Nasia from Sri Lanka. Just I wanted to know a small point from you all. Now the living cost of the whole world has gone up. Whether we like or not like, we both parents wanted to work and going from home out. And also now the individual families now, according to the education or the job wise, now having a individual families, and meantime we have to bring our children up. So what is the quality time that we can give to bring our children until the, according to for my knowledge, I think that about until 25 years we have to support as a parent to until they matured. So what may be the very good quality time that we can spend with them, and how we can manage this psychologically, how we can effectively use that time to with our children. That's my question, sir.
So your question is, how can we have effective time?
Quality time.
Quality time.
Quality time with our children.
Tamam, okay.
Regardless.
Maybe Professor Khairuddin? Okay. Mr. Jason.
The first myth that we must debunk is that there is no such thing
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zaid Ali Al-Sagaf. I'm actually very much involved in AI, but that's not my main question. I felt today was very good because we learned fathers, we learned how maybe inshallah become better fathers. But I think you focus too little on what the ladies should do, because it's not just the men are bad. in this generation. So I would like you to share some advice what the ladies can do to be better wives or better mothers. Just some tips, because it doesn't. It's two to tango. So I felt it was good, very good. Mashallah, we learned a lot. But I think it's also I personally feel, because I'm also going through is this generation of ladies also somehow give up too fast on the marriage because they have more freedom, they have more wealth, they have more opportunity, they meet more men. So maybe you can share about what ladies can do, so we can hear some advice. It'd be good to have. Thank you very much.
She wants me to answer, okay, from a lady's perspective. I'm not a lady expert. I only have one lady in my life, another one is my mother. But I must say, first, I got married very young, at the age of 23 years old when I was third year in the university, right? Before I got married, I read as much as I can about marriage life. One book that inspired me is by Imam Abdul Rauf, who wrote a small book actually on marriage life, mashallah, right? And a lot of books in the Masters of Tasawwuf, they have written all about this. One thing that I learned from all of this before I got married is that you must put, we say it in Malay, berikan hak pada yang berhak, which means always put things in their place. And one of those things that I did when I got married was to tell my wife that you need to know your place, I need to know my place in this whole scheme of things. Your place is to ensure that the house is well managed. Of course, I'll play my part. And my place is to ensure that the management of the house is perfected. And we agreed from the very beginning. That is the roles that we have of each other, right? And along the way, I always feel that my wife, one thing, the virtue of my wife is that she tends to remind me again and again of the times where I forget. So that's the first of, to me, the first role of a woman is to remind. Fadhakir innama anta mudhakir. That's why Rasulullah says, read this every Friday. Lasta alayhim bimusaitir. And those who don't want to listen, illa man tawalla wa kafar. Right? Those who don't want to listen, kafar means to actually to hide the truth. So my wife is always the one who is reminding me, you are working too hard. Why do you have to do this? We have enough money already. Why do you have to travel so much? Which is always her perennial unhappiness. But I say, no, I have to do my work, but still I will spend much. So that's the first. The second thing is that she remained until today feminine. And that is to me, and these feminists don't like to hear this. How dare you say that we must be feminine, but they call themselves feminists. Can you see the irony here? They call themselves feminists, but they don't want to be feminine. And I think that has always been her source of power over me, right? Because I see myself as very alpha. They call it now alpha male. Yeah, some young people call me metrosexual. I don't know what that means. I say, you're so well dressed. They even think that I cut my eyebrows to make it nice. I said, there's no such thing. I'm not metrosexual. I'm just, heterosexual. But anyway, she remained until today, from the day I married her at 18 years old. She was 18 years old. I was 23 years old. Until today, very, very ladylike. And that, to me, is the forgotten power of women. In the African traditions, I have one hero in my life which I admire the most. His name is Amadou Bamba. He's a great Sufi and fighter in Senegal, right? Do read about him and his teachings, because he wrote a lot of books. But one of the books that these people in Africa, the books that they like to write is the books on family life. And they always emphasize on why women, in staying feminine and soft and gentle and using their soft power, always ensure the stability of a family. The crisis that we have now in families, other than men not doing their job, is that women want to be men. And all of this Hollywood industry is feeding this idea. Captain America is now a woman, right? Now, I don't know, the latest one, Hulk is a woman now. The latest one is a She-Hulk now. Hulk, the idea of Hulk is supposed to be this highly boosted man who's green in color. Now she's red in color. Can you imagine? They are destroying the very basis. I mean, again, sorry, I like to use the Quran as an example because the Quran has this beautiful way of describing innal muslimina wal muslimati wal mu'minina wal mu'minati wal qanitina wal qanitati was sadiqina was sadiqati was sabirina was sabirati was saimina was saimati. All of the ayats of the Quran always tell you how these roles are so important, and the roles come with predispositions, with character. When we say akhlaq in Islam, akhlaq is not something general only. Akhlaq is specific as well. That women has certain akhlaq that they need to develop and nurture through time, either by their parents, but something that they have to learn from the tradition. Now we don't teach this. When before I got married, in our Hadrami tradition is Al-Sagaf. I'm from the Al-Junid family. My father used to tell me informally, as a man, this is what you got to do. You're talking about bedroom talk, right? These are the things you need to maintain. These are the food you need to eat. Now we don't have this anymore. Our children get married. What do we do? What do we do? Find a nice hotel for the wedding reception. We don't teach the values of becoming men and women. And that's why men, again, I go back to the men, have become weak. And women has become strong in the wrong way. They need to be strong. But they are exuding or portraying strength in a wrong manner. And we need to recover this. And the recovery of this goes back to our tradition, which needs to be studied, but needs to be repackaged and needs to be imparted. Many parents now tell me their children don't want to get married. Why they don't want to get married? Why? Because they are afraid that they will get a wife who's like their mother, who's always shouting at their father. I'm talking about the men. Many men now don't want to get married. You can do a survey on this. Most men don't want to get married out of fear that they will get a woman who will end up becoming his mother. Can you imagine? What is the impression of the mother? The mother is a She-Hulk. Right? And this we need to relearn again in our society. That's just my point. I'm sure the ladies will disagree with me. It's okay. Yeah.
I have nothing against the men, trust me. Nothing at all. But basically, when we talk about men and women, wife and husband, it's about complementing. It's not about our rights. I think that's the issue. When each of us is asking about our rights. So when you ask about your rights, then there's no rights that is right. You get what I'm trying to say? Yeah, I think that should be clear. And if, based on what Prof K is saying, so I'm not under the list of feminine thingy. So I'm the one that, the opposite of feminine. Okay. So no, I'm not that feminine. Trust me. But I have no issue with that. Yeah. As long as you know your rules. And my mother, I mean, for me, my mother is a good example. She's an ustazah. Basically, we call her Cikgu Agama Johor, Sekolah Johor. And she's Guru Besar. She's the headmaster in religious school in Johor. And she's very prominent and she knows what she needs to do. She cooks and she raises us very well. And my father played his role very well too as a husband. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I think once each of us knows our rights, yeah, and our roles to complement each other's, then nothing should be asked. I mean, the question of whether is the man's wrong or is the women's wrong shouldn't be asked in this context. Yeah, our aim is for our next generation. So if you are clear that what is our aim, then we are clear on our roles as Khalifah just now. Yeah? So that is my opinion.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Haslinda. Just a point that I'd like to make also with regards to my own experience, because I'm quite active on social media on X. I remember years ago I was called a misogynist for saying that women can only be women if men are men. And it was screenshotted and it went viral. So that's my personal experience. But Alhamdulillah, also if we talk about Simone de Beauvoir in Le Deuxième Sexe, the second sex, she said that a woman is not born a woman, but a woman becomes a woman. So these kind of things, when imparted within the context of us today, we have to understand the dynamics at play, and we have to understand complementarity, not competition. And with that, I'd like to thank Professor Dr. Haslinda, Professor Dr. Khairuddin Al-Junid, and Mr. Jason Leong for a very compelling, engaging session. And thank you also to, of course, everyone here for making it lively as well. Jazakallah khair. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
With that, we conclude our first for. Sorry. With that, we conclude our second forum, and also our sincere thanks to the panelists and moderator for their valuable insights, and we hope this session has offered useful knowledge and inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, for the next session, the attendees are welcome for lunch break and Zuhr prayer. Lunch will be served at dining hall in ground level, and musalla is available at the first level. Please note that after the lunch break at 2:30 p.m., we will have our last forum session on impacts of social media and technology on irresponsible and aggressive behavior among youth with our three professional panelists. First is Professor Media Technologies, Dr. Nur Izura from Cybersecurity Group of Universiti Putra Malaysia, and the second one is Dr. Adam Musa from International Islamic University of Malaysia. And the last one is Dr. Hatini Zainuddin, child rights activist and founder of Yayasan Shawkit. But followed by a session of group discussion on the way forward on family, institution, and society in facing digital age challenges. With that, we close up our first session on this morning, and that's all from us. Thank you.